As you'd imagine, Sparking Zero is getting a lot of people in this fighting game space, and though it is an arena fighter, and I am not proficient in arena fighters by any stretch of the imagination, there are a few consistencies with regular, more traditional fighting games that I think carry over, and some concepts I can explain to help you win more matches quicker. Reminder, this is not going to be against Z ranks, this is not going to be against S ranks. This is for the average person just trying to win more games, put the pieces together. We are not even a week into the game's release, and right now, you're just trying to do whatever you can to get some wins, have some fun, and enjoy the Sparking Zero game. Of course, it comes with a lot of pitfalls because there are a lot of frustrating defensive and offensive systems in the game, and you need to be ready for those, so let's see if I can get you prepped. Right up top, I'm going to say we're going to be in around the B rank, and I think B rank is what I'm going to consider the average player experience until you start really grinding it out. Even I haven't really started grinding it out. I'm about to hit A rank soon, and then I'm going to continue on and on and on, and hopefully maybe I'll end up at Z rank, but if I don't, so be it. A concept you need to be familiar with if you're stepping into fighting games, quote unquote, for the first time is the neutral. Sparking Zero, like any other fighting game, arena, platform, what have you, has a neutral. The neutral refers to the period of the game where no one is on offense, no one is on defense, and you're functionally just poking, trying to get that first hit. You got that? One of the ways people do this in Sparking Zero, and you may have noticed this, is they use things like the super dash, which is where you hold down your key charge button, do a double dash, and you zip right behind the person, and this is pretty hard to deal with. The way you can confront this or oppose this if you're getting spammed down, if you feel like, man, I wish I could beat this player, but they're just rushing in on me and I feel overwhelmed, is use your key blast. Key blasts are probably the single most underrated utility I see in my games. Remember, after all, we're talking about the average player. If we're getting to Z ranks, we might talk about things like needing to perfect counter, Z counter, etc. But for these average games, notice how many times you're key blasting and how many times your opponent is key blasting, not from far away, but in your face, and you'll probably notice who's winning those games more often than not. I think oftentimes the key blast in neutral, in the close range and mid range, decides the confrontation, and most of my games are won by me being the person who initiates the key blast spam face to face. I'm going to be switching between clips here, between fights, and just showing circumstances where this comes up, but in the second fight I had of this recording session, this person really loved to sidestep. And sidestep is incredibly powerful if you're just mashing on square, XXX, whatever it is. And the thing that beats that, in my experience at least right now, is you just key blast them out of it. And this is especially true because not many things in the game beat perception. So you have something that is helping pin down people who are sidestepping around you too much, and it's helping pin down people who are just using perception every single time you establish offense. Work on getting those key blast confirms into damage, and you're going to feel your games go up and up and up. And keep in mind, I haven't really training moded a bunch of combos. If you watch me get my damage, it's not like I'm doing super optimal combos. If anything, I'm leaving a lot of damage on the floor, but I win these games because I'm just better at initiating the fights than my opponent here is. Neither of us are playing optimal Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and for the most part, no one really is. The reason I'm sort of pairing this video with actual fights is because currently, and stop me if you've heard this one before, people go to the training mode, which the training mode is not great in this game. There are a lot of things missing in a typical fighting game training mode, a lot of functionality. You need to get in games and you need to actually see these things work or not work, which is why I'm showing you the actual fights. One of the characters that's considered a problem character, and I'm playing one of them, Vegito is considered a problem character right now. Another one is this Beerus. Beerus is incredibly powerful. You have to use a ton of your DP cost to get him, but when you do, he does a ton of damage, he has great combos, he has great supers, an unblockable super, and you can really cheese people out with Beerus. But by staying calm and monitoring the habits my opponent has, I'm able to overwhelm him even when Vegito's not even in the game, right? He's not even on screen, and we can sort of corral Beerus in a meaningful way. One thing you'll see me do a ton in these videos, in these clips, is use the perfect heavy attack. And the perfect heavy attack might seem daunting to you if you just picked up the game, but after a little while, the flash isn't even something I look for anymore. I'm mostly just timing it, and it's incredibly powerful for sneaking out damage, getting a knockback, and setting up various situations. And again, a lot of people right now, when I see guides on YouTube, are saying, just use Z counter, and it's like, what does that mean? Just use predict, and it's like, what does that mean? Just use perception, what does that mean? And it's not useful to me, I feel like. Maybe some of you guys are people people just tell you information and you can follow it, but I'm one of those people who needs to see what someone's doing to really take the information in. As you watch Raccoon wail on this Beerus, Notice how often I'm easing off the gas just to see what he does. Notice how often I'm holding perception just to see what he does. Notice how much I'm just not doing anything at all because he is a 10 cost character and Raccoon is Raccoon. You know, you have to play to Raccoon's strengths because ultimately he wasn't designed to just kill you like Beerus does. If you're someone who doesn't really care about playing specific characters, if you don't care about like, I need to play Vegito and Gogeta and Goku and Broly and so on and so forth on this team, or I need to theme my team, or I need to have this set up exactly, or like bothers my like OCD or some shit, then this section is for you. Some of the highest usage characters are characters like Raccoon, Birder, Turles, Bardock, you know, Roshi, Yajirobe, obviously, if you've seen the Senzu Bean. And the reason that is because they all have a definitive, powerful niches that help round out the team. Raccoon's, for example, is if you get 3 bars on Raccoon, not only does he have great combo potential, but you can just run up to people and hit the Raccoon Bomber on them, and he becomes this like immovable wall that does a ton of damage, even though he's so low DP cost. And there are certain teams right now people are running like Earthlings and Team Ginyu Force and these things that can get you with just a bunch of DP cost units. But more importantly, what these guys allow you to do is fill out your team with heal batteries, because your character, your carry I'm going to call them, heals while they're off the field, even if it's slow. So Vegito is my quote-unquote carry in a MOBA sense. I am keeping him in first to go Super Saiyan so I can after image strike with a bunch of stocks built up. And when he gets low, I take him off the team. Cell comes in. Cell transforms into Perfect Cell. He has after image as well. He can stall. Raccoon comes in. He's like this exploding battery meant to die. He's this like suicide bomber. He can stall. Once he comes out, I switch back into Vegito and the team works like this well-oiled machine. You want to start thinking about things like that because these low DP cost characters arguably have skills that are way too strong for them. I think there is still room to run characters, like just run your favorite 2 characters, like 2 really expensive characters and be fine. But if you really want to elevate and just make the game a lot easier for you, I would really suggest running a Spopovich, a Raccoon, a Yajirobe, a Roshi, etc, etc. These characters just fill out the team so well, and they just provide your carry, you know, quote unquote your carry, more time to heal so you can get them back in the fight, so you can play more of your favorite character and have them feel dominant. So just to recount, the 3 things, let's say 3, that you really want to work on are make more use of Ki Blast, because Ki Blast help you solve the problem of beating perception and also sidestepping, just rushing in these dragon rushes, all these things that are just kind of unwieldy to deal with when you first launch the game. The second tip, if you played fighting games, if you're coming from fighting games and you have any sort of knowledge of neutral, is sometimes it's better to do nothing. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero can feel like a really aggressive game, and it is a really aggressive, sometimes mashy game. But still, the practice of doing nothing and waiting for your moment is extremely powerful, because oftentimes people will show you all of their bad habits at these early ranks and you can just abuse them once you have the answers. And the third, if you take nothing else from this video, is to build a team with some of these powerful low DP cost units like Raccoon, like Jace, like Birder, like Spopovich, like Roshi, like Yajirobe, because they just offer you more chances to switch out and play as your favorite character now that they're healed, now that they've softened up the enemies, now that they've worked like a cohesive team, rather than just trying to solo mode. Once you get good enough, hey man, pick UI Goku. But UI Goku could use some friends. You know, you've seen the Tournament of Power. They were on the sidelines going, oh my god, Kakarot. You know what I mean? So take a hint from the show. For now, I've been Lone. I have another video I made just yesterday talking about how Sparking Zero is more like a fighting game than people are giving it credit for. And a lot of these tenets are just fighting game tenets. I'm giving you information that if you've played other fighting games before, you probably are pretty familiar with these concepts. Either way, man, like if you like the video, subscribe to join the club. We all gonna make it. Please continue to enjoy Sparking Zero. I know I am about to get grinding on this ranked. Peace.